So I couldn't feel none of my body. So all I heard is the door get kicked in and a bunch of shooting.
Facebook family, y'all know y'all don't see me up here very often, but I'm coming live today to counteract, to do some correction to a live that went viral yesterday concerning my son KJ.
On the night of January 29th, 2021, in what should have been a quiet suburban neighborhood in Chesapeake, Virginia, gunshots rang out at the Preston Trails West apartment complex. When police arrived at 1:09 in the morning, they discovered a scene that would remain unsolved for years. 26-year-old Carrie Eaton Jr., known to his friends as either KJ or Fat Daddy Drip, lay dead with 6 gunshot wounds to his chest. His friend, aspiring rapper Quumante Johnson, was clinging to life with multiple gunshot wounds. But here's where this story gets absolutely insane. Johnson would later claim that this wasn't just a random robbery, it was an orchestrated setup. And the person who set him up? Someone he trusted, someone who contacted him that very night. But that's not even the most shocking part of this story.
What makes this case absolutely devastating is the timing. See, just hours before this ambush, before the bullets started flying, before Carrie Eaton would take his last breath, Quumante Johnson had attended the funeral of another close friend. He buried one friend in the evening, and by the early morning hours, he would lose another. The emotional weight of that day, the vulnerability, the grief, it all played into what was about to unfold. And according to Johnson's viral account that exploded across social media in February 2025, this wasn't coincidence. This was calculated. This was cold-blooded. This was personal. Let's talk about who Carrie Eaton really was, because understanding him is crucial to understanding why this story has torn a community apart.
You ain't gonna act like you don't remember me, nigga?
That nigga ugly as a bitch.
I'm playing.
That nigga ugly. You ugly as a bitch. Ugly, boy, you ugly.
I got a little with VI. But on these eyes, I'm better
on this side.
How about us in?
Carrie W. Eaton Jr. was born on October 5th, 1994. He was a 26-year-old from Suffolk, Virginia, living on Hollywood Avenue. But he wasn't just another guy from the neighborhood. According to everyone who knew him, Carrie was different. He was the type of person who lifted others up when they were down. He was protective. He was a mentor. He was, by all accounts, someone who genuinely cared about people. His obituary describes memorial services at Oak Grove Baptist Church, but the guest book entries tell the real story. Friends called him wonderful. Family members said he lifted me and our family up at our down, and that he loved everybody and never met a stranger. This was a man who genuinely made an impact on the people around him. And according to his mother, Twanda, Carrie had taken Quumante Johnson under his wing when absolutely nobody else would. Now, Quumante Johnson.
Cash super fast and I can't show it. She said she don't fuck with rappers, what you talking? I'm a poet. Keep a 50 when I'm blowing fast. Bitch, I feel like Meech. You gon' need a GoFundMe if you think about trying me. I'm in the cut just like I'm alcohol. I know some niggas in the game ain't talking basketball. She on my dick, might hit your bitch and then I pass her.
He's an aspiring rapper who goes by the handle @approved by Quumante online. In his own words, shared in interviews and viral videos, Johnson had a rough upbringing.
I got kicked out the crib. I was like 15, 16.
He was homeless as a teenager, sleeping in recording studios, hustling as a graphic designer just to survive. He taught himself design from YouTube, reworking album covers and selling them to local artists.
So goddamn, I used to re-rock covers and sell it to people. So what I mean by that, like, so if a nigga in the booth, I just listen to what he's saying, like hook-wise, and he'd be like, in the kitchen, on the floor, da-da-da. I go to Bootsy Instagram or something, or to go to Google, type in a Bootsy cover. I take Bootsy name off, put the artist name and put in the kitchen. Run up to him like, hey, look, boy, look what I just made for you, boy. Like, just give me $60. Niggas used to buy that shit.
He was grinding in the Virginia rap scene, making connections, building a name. And through it all, Carrie Eaton was there. Carrie was the one who opened doors. Carrie was the one who offered protection and friendship when Johnson needed it most. But here's what makes Johnson's story so controversial. In February 2025, 4 years after the shooting, he posted a multi-part series on TikTok that went absolutely viral. In these videos, he detailed for the first time publicly what he claims happened that night. He talked about having between $50,000 and $60,000 hidden in a safe. This cash allegedly came from his work in the music industry, his graphic design, his connections, his hustling in the Virginia rap scene.
So it was about a bunch of niggas mad at me. So boom. So I had to find a way to get some money. And I don't sell, I don't try, I don't do no shit like that. That's like, I like my shit bad.
He talked about sensing danger. And he talked about the woman whom he believes set the entire thing up. Her name is Shayla D, known online as the Doll. According to Johnson's account, Shayla had been contacting him persistently after the funeral. They had a casual relationship before, but something felt off this time. She arrived in an unfamiliar vehicle. She was texting constantly. Johnson claims he even armed himself more heavily than usual because his gut was telling him something was wrong. They went to McDonald's together, and when they returned to Johnson's apartment in the Preston Trails West complex, that's when hell broke loose. 4 masked men ambushed them. They were demanding money. The money Johnson had hidden. They knew about it. And according to Johnson, the only way they could have known is if someone told them. Someone who had been inside. Someone who had been texting throughout the night. Someone like Shayla. Carrie Eaton was inside the apartment, asleep. Johnson claims Carrie suffered from narcolepsy, a sleep disorder that caused him to fall asleep unexpectedly. Whether that's true or not has been heavily disputed, but what isn't disputed is this. Carrie was shot 6 times in the chest. He died instantly. The time of death was 12:58 a.m., and according to his mother, that was the exact same time Carrie had been born 26 years earlier. Quumante Johnson was also shot multiple times. He underwent several surgeries. He claims he had an out-of-body experience, that he heard a voice telling him to get up. He survived, but barely. And when he woke up in the hospital days later, he learned that his friend, his protector, the man who had given him a chance when nobody else would, was gone. But here's where this story takes its most explosive turn. Shayla D has denied everything. In her response video, she called Johnson's allegations cap, which means fabrication or lies. She said police seized her phone. She said they investigated her. And she said they cleared her. She didn't set anybody up. According to Shayla, the real reason Johnson was targeted had nothing to do with her. It was his own conflicts. It was what she called rat beef, disputes involving snitching or unpaid debts. It was Johnson's schemes that brought violence to his door. And then came the voice that nobody expected. The voice that would shatter whatever narrative Johnson had built.
When all the time it was your fault why he got killed. They wasn't after my child. They was after you. You knew they was coming for you, and you knew my son was a protector. And you figured if my son was there with you, he would protect you.
Carrie Eaton's mother, Twanda. She came forward in February 2025 with an absolutely scathing live video, and what she had to say would change everything about this story. You need to hear what she revealed because it exposes a truth that's been buried for 4 years.
Quumante, for 4 years now, you have lied to me about my son. I have asked you, you came to me, to Charlotte, to tell me, to ask me for forgiveness about my son's death.
4 years. 4 years of silence. 4 years of living with the pain of losing her son. And then Quumante Johnson goes viral with his story, and Carrie Eaton's mother, Twanda, decides she's had enough.
You knew then that you knew who killed him and wouldn't say nothing. But yet now, 4 years later, you trying to profit off of my son's death.
But Twanda doesn't stop there. She goes deeper into the history between her son and Quumante Johnson. She paints a picture that's radically different from the one Johnson has been selling. According to Twanda, Carrie wasn't just a friend to Johnson. He was a lifeline.
A child that my son took under his wing when nobody else would give you a chance, when nobody in Lakeland High School in Suffolk liked you, when you was going to the alternative school because of your behavior. My son was the only one who came to you, took you under his wing as his little brother, and invited you to go places with him, to hang out with him.
Twanda says Carrie invited Johnson to social events. He brought him into his circle. He gave him access to connections in both Virginia and Charlotte. And Johnson, he latched on. He became what Twanda calls a leech, someone who took and took without ever giving back. Someone who benefited from Carrie's kindness and connections, but was never a true friend in return.
I want nothing but a leech on everybody. It was because of KJ you got up. You came up because of KJ. Not nothing of your own. It was because of KJ and the people he knew and the connections he had here in Virginia and in Charlotte. But one thing about it, all KJ true friends came to my house every time he came to Charlotte.
And then Twanda addresses one of the most specific claims in Johnson's viral story, that Carrie had narcolepsy. Twanda calls this out as complete nonsense.
You had to have a nerve to say, oh, he was a big boy and he slept, he fell asleep because he had narcolepsy. You couldn't even say the damn word. Lord, forgive my mouth. But you couldn't even say the word. My son didn't have no sickness, no sleeping disorder.
According to Carrie's mother, her son didn't have narcolepsy. He didn't have any sleep disorder. There were no medical conditions keeping him asleep that night. She believes God allowed Carrie to be asleep so he wouldn't have to suffer through what was about to happen. It's a deeply spiritual interpretation, but it's also a direct refutation of a key detail in Johnson's story. And if Johnson lied about something as specific as narcolepsy, what else might he be lying about?
My son was killed on the exact time that he came into this world. At 12:58 a.m. in the morning.
Carrie W. Eaton Jr. was born on October 5th, 1994 at 12:58 in the morning. And on January 29th, 2021, he died at 12:58 in the morning, the exact same time. His mother sees this as significant, as something that wasn't random. She says God took him at the time he was brought into this world. Twanda also takes issue with another part of Johnson's narrative that's been circulating. In some accounts, Johnson has portrayed himself as homeless during his time in the Virginia rap scene.
I was poor, I'm homeless, I got no car, I'm sleeping in the studio.
But according to Twanda, Johnson even told people that Carrie was homeless at one point. This, she says, is a lie.
You've made it one time you had even told somebody my son was homeless. My son was never homeless. My son stayed right here in Suffolk with my mother. And then he came to Charlotte.
Carrie Eaton lived on Hollywood Avenue in Suffolk, Virginia. He had family, he had a home. He traveled between Suffolk and Charlotte to visit relatives. He wasn't struggling for a place to sleep. And the fact that Johnson allegedly spread rumors that Carrie was homeless, that's just another example, according to Twanda, of how Johnson has twisted the narrative to make himself look better and to diminish Carrie's memory. Here's where Twanda's theory about what really happened that night gets absolutely chilling. She doesn't believe Shayla set Johnson up. She believes something much more calculated and much more personal was at play.
They wasn't after my child, they was after you. You knew they was coming for you, and you knew my son was a protector. And you figured if my son was there with you, he would protect you. But I thank God that he was asleep. He did not suffer.
According to Twanda, the attackers weren't after Carrie. They were after Quumante Johnson. Johnson knew they were coming. He knew he was in danger, and he knew that Carrie was a protector, someone who would fight to defend his friends.
So Johnson, whether consciously or unconsciously, used Carrie as a shield. He put Carrie in harm's way because he believed Carrie would protect him. And Carrie did die protecting him, in a sense. He died in Johnson's apartment. He died because he was associated with Johnson. He died because of Johnson's conflicts, Johnson's debts, Johnson's rat beef, as Shayla called it. At least that's what Chwanda believes. And she thanks God that Carrie was asleep, that he didn't suffer, that he didn't have to live through the terror of being ambushed in the middle of the night. But here's what really seems to drive Chwanda's anger. It's not just that Johnson may have withheld information about who killed Carrie. It's not just that he may have lied about the circumstances. It's that he's now profiting from it.
But you gonna get on live and try to gain money from my son that you knew 4 years ago what had happened. And you chose to tell the detective you didn't know nothing.
She accuses Johnson of being a clout-chasing liar, someone who stayed silent when it mattered, when police were investigating, when the family needed answers. And then, years later, when the case had gone cold and there was an opportunity for viral fame, suddenly he has a detailed story to tell. Suddenly, he's the victim of an elaborate setup. Suddenly, he's the one who suffered an out-of-body experience and heard God tell him to get up.
But that's okay. Your time is coming. Your time is coming for everybody that believed that foolishness that you put out there, that you were set up, that you could see things, you had an out-of-body experience. That's a bunch of bull.
Chwanda also points out something that many people might not have noticed. In the 4 years since Carrie's death, while Johnson was supposedly Carrie's best friend, his homeboy, he never checked on the family.
Not once since you came and lied in my face have you checked on on me, or his brothers, or his niece, whom he loved dearly. If you know anything about KJ, you knew he loved his niece Shania dearly.
Carrie had a niece named Shia, who he loved like a baby sister. He had brothers. He had a mother who was drowning in grief. And if Johnson truly cared about Carrie, if he truly considered him family, wouldn't he have reached out? Wouldn't he have offered support? Wouldn't he have been there for the people Carrie left behind?
All KJ true friends came to my house every time he came to Charlotte. And guess what? You was never part of that because you was not his true friend. You set your own self up with your mouth and bragging about all the conniving schemes you had did to people, and all that stuff came back at you. See, your dirt will find you out. Some of it was lies and some of it was true, because you know who killed my son. You seen their faces before you got shot. So you know, but you keep telling me and the detective that you don't know.
So who's telling the truth? Is Quumante Johnson the victim of an elaborate setup orchestrated by a woman he trusted? Or is he, as Carrie's mother claims, a liar who's exploiting a tragedy for attention while hiding the truth about what really happened? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Remember that Shayla D., the woman at the center of Johnson's accusations, maintains that Johnson's rat beef is the real motive. According to this version of events, the attack wasn't about a setup by a jealous or greedy woman. It was retaliation or robbery based on Johnson's own actions and reputation. This explanation would align with Chwanda's theory that the attackers were after Johnson, not Carrie, that this was Johnson's problem that spilled over and cost an innocent man his life. There's another aspect of this story that's worth examining, and that's Johnson's lifestyle post-shooting. If you look at his social media, if you listen to his interviews, he's not hiding the fact that he survived something traumatic. He's embraced his scars, literally.
You posted it on your Instagram.
Definitely. You gonna see this, you feel me? I'm still sexy with it.
It was, from what I can remember, I don't have it in front of me, but it was like you were like in some sort of designer attire. Yeah. The shirt was open. Right. You were showing the scar. I don't know if you were showing off the scar or if that's just...
No, I was showing off the scar. That same night, I bought 6 bottles in 1942 at a club called Origami. Hottest goddamn club in 757.
Johnson talks about buying 6 bottles of 1942 tequila at a high-end club. He talks about not even opening them, just making a statement. He posts photos showing his gunshot scars. He incorporates his survival into his music and his image. In the same interview where Johnson discusses his scars and his lifestyle, he also talks extensively about guns.
Since this incident, what's your opinion on guns?
Keep you one. 2, 3, 4. Just keep them on you.
He's open about carrying multiple firearms at all times. He says there's a gun on his nightstand when he sleeps, a gun in his pocket when he walks his dog, guns always within reach.
There's a gun always with me. Always. When I go to sleep, it's on the nightstand. When I walk the dog, it's in my pocket. There's a gun always with me.
He clarifies that he's never been arrested, doesn't have a felony record, and isn't under any open cases, so legally, he can carry. Does this behavior suggest someone who's genuinely traumatized and protecting himself from future attacks? Or does it suggest someone who's still involved in a lifestyle that requires constant vigilance and readiness for violence? Let me know what your perspective is in the comments section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.